Hello, hello. Thank you for joining us today. We are here to talk about how to streamline purchase requests with M365 and Teams. My name is Krista White. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Crow Canyon, and I'm joined today by Jeff Priest, our COO, and Scott Restivo, our CEO. And we're excited to dive into things today. A couple things I wanted to go over before we get into it. First of all, we are Crow Canyon Software. We've been in business for over 24 years now. We're GSA certified. We're also a California certified small business, and we are a Microsoft preferred business application. So we've been around, we've been doing this for quite a while now, but I have a couple of things I wanted to go over before I hand things over to Jeff. So first of all, today was going to be more of like a high level overview of purchasing. There's so many things you can do with it to customize it and tailor it to your organization. So we'll just be covering a high level overview, but we would definitely encourage you to schedule a one-on-one demo after the webinar so we can dive into your specific needs. Also, this will be recorded. We'll be uploading it to our YouTube channel. It'll also be on our website. And if you've registered for the webinar, you'll also receive an email with the link of the replay. And then lastly, we would love to get your questions. So as we're going through, don't hesitate. Go ahead and use that question box on the right-hand side there. We'll be keeping an eye out for your questions. So don't be shy. We're looking forward to hearing from you today. And now with that being said, I'm not going to take up any more time. I know we've got a lot to cover. So let me go ahead and hand things over to Jeff. Jeff, what do you have for us?
Great. Thanks, Krista, for the intro. So what I want to do is kick off first and just give anybody who's new to Crow Canyon, who we are, what we do, want to just give a quick overview of our focus in the market. Today, well, first of all, as Krista mentioned, we've been doing this for a long time. We've been at it for 24 years. We have been focused on driving solutions primarily within the Microsoft stack. Way back in the day, building solutions within Exchange and Outlook, to then SharePoint and now M365 as a major focus. And so for us, what we've done over the course of time is try to figure out, what is it that customers, our customers or folks out there in that environment, how do we improve productivity? How do we improve efficiencies? How do we improve their business kind of holistically? And we've built a platform we call the NITRO intelligence platform. And you could say it's just really about working smarter, not harder. So it's driving automation, intelligent automation, using both automation as well as AI. We have a platform that's NITRO Studio, which is really an app development platform. It's just a no-code solution that allows citizen developers. Primarily, we focus a lot. Initially, there's a lot of work. Developers would get involved, and at some point, we wanted to simplify this and really kind of expand throughout an organization and have citizen developers start building solutions to improve their businesses, whether it be departmental, etc. So NITRO Studio is that platform, along with NITRO AI services, which is really about advanced AI for business process automation. How do we use natural language processing? How do we use RPA? How do we use these to then drive, again, efficiencies and productivity to do more with less? So, where human interaction isn't necessary and it's transactional, how can we drive that using intelligence? And also our NITRO Engage product, which is really, chatbots within Microsoft Teams. So it's self-service. It's to simplify the interaction where, one of your end users come in through Teams, which we all live in Teams today if we are in the M365 environment. And it's really about improving the experience for your employees in submitting requests, to asking for things that they need on a daily basis, whether it be purchase question, that we're talking about today, or maybe an IT help desk, and various other applications that can be built within that platform. So today we're going to talk about purchasing. So we want to first talk about and address what the problem is. So many times when we have conversations with prospects or even existing customers that are trying to solve this problem, we ask, what are you using? What are you doing today? And a lot of times it's the obvious, right? It's the most inefficient way in which we can work, and we continue to do the same thing today. Email, for example, submit an email for a request. It could even be as simple as a hey you over your shoulder, or walk into someone's office, say, hey, I need this. Someone might place a phone call, but very, very inefficient in the sense that, for one, it's not a system of record. Outlook is not a system of record. Phone calls, difficult to track. So it's really about creating an efficient system that can accomplish these things. So you see spreadsheets and paper. M365, doing this within the environment in which we work and live becomes increasingly important throughout time as well. Now, purchasing and purchase requests, what is the advantage that we bring to the table? So as we just talked about some of the inefficient ways that we do. In fact, sometimes we even catch ourselves using those inefficient ways, and then we have to remind ourselves that, hey, we actually have a system that we can utilize for this. And so it's one of those things, if we start from the beginning, the very basic is, when you do this within the M365 environment, one is there's the single sign-on. So you're there already. So why have to go out and sign into a third-party solution to perform some function that can be right there in your work environment? The other thing, we talk about system record, it's all there. We can report on it. We can drive intelligence from it. We can understand things like spend management is down here farther in the list. We can create policies. We can do a lot of things. We can integrate with third-party solution, the ERP systems. Going back to the, how we can leverage teams in a better way to work. There's workflows that drive things like approvals and notifications. There's so many things that could be done, and another thing that we found, discovered too, is this concept of fraud. It's not that we probably consider our employees out there trying to do anything that would defraud the company, but sometimes, unfortunately, that may be the case. But if anything, it's just really to really get control over spend in a system itself. So the other thing too is, integrations. A lot of times we find companies, large and small, will have some back-end financial system. Maybe you're using QuickBooks Online. Maybe there's a system, you're using MS Dynamics, SAP, but you see NetSuite. There's a number of financial systems that you might have in place that are doing all these things on the back end, but you want a front-end system that you can surface to your clients to be able to do those, to do the initial submission of a request. And so there's a number of different integration possibilities that can be created, through our system connecting to your back-end financial system. Also, licensing advantages. You already have purchased M365 licenses for your employees, and or SharePoint license. You have licenses already that exist. In fact, I just talked to a vendor that was trying to sell me something yesterday, and it was all based on user count. So it was a fairly lofty annual fee based on a number of users, where in our case we have a system that you can purchase at a very affordable rate, but you don't, we're not, there's no additional licensing that per se that you have to go out and buy through a third party. Now, this is just, for us, this is kind of just to showcase that we have hundreds and hundreds of clients globally, and what we've discovered is there's not really a particular vertical market that is going to be attracted to a solution like this. It applies to all industry verticals out there. You can see we got, banking and finance. We have, we have the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, on the military or local, police, enforcement with Sheriff Department. There's NTT Data, who is, multi-billion-dollar global company. So we have both sort of larger and smaller organizations that come and take advantage of our solutions. Standard Meat, one of the largest meat packers in the U.S. So there's a number of industry verticals out there that we're working with today. And here's a nice thing before we jump into the demo here. The nice thing about this, we've been at this for a long time, and so our products primarily are, of course, we are doing our own market research. We want to go out there and do a competitive analysis and understand what other companies are doing, providing in terms of features and functionality. But we work tightly with our customers. And a lot of these customers, because purchasing, and you'll see as we get into the demo, is unique to each organization. Every organization is slightly different. They utilize tools differently. And so our solution is highly flexible. And so we get a lot of feedback from our customers. And that feedback many times goes back into the product as new features and functionality. So we're right in the middle right now of developing a new version of our Purchase Quest solution that will probably be launched in September. And so there's a lot of innovation that continues to happen within the product itself that we deliver to our clients. I think that being said, I think we're up for a demo. I want to introduce you to our CEO and our leader, Scott Restivo, who will walk through the demo and showcase the product. Now, guys, as you're going through this, I mean, we love to talk to you, but we prefer to talk with you. So post demo, we'd love to, anybody who wants to see a more deep dive demo of this, we'd love to do that. But even during this webinar, pop up, when questions come to your mind, just go ahead and submit them. We'll address them as we're going through. It makes it a little more interactive and more fun along the way. Plus, your questions are all good questions, and so we'd love to, encourage you to do that. At this time, I'm going to hand it over to Scott, and so Scott, take it away.
Oh yeah, okay. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Krista. Do you see my screen now? Is it working? Is it showing the right screen of the purchase request program?
We do.
Okay, good. Well, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us for this webinar. I'm glad to have you. As Jeff said, it's a very popular topic, purchase request in M365. We have a lot of inquiries and also have a lot of customers using it, and like Jeff said, throughout the whole range of industries. It seems to be a lot in government lately, but also in big manufacturing. And one thing that people are finding is just what Jeff was talking about, the licensing. Let me reemphasize that, is that people say, look, the back-end system, the ERP, whether it's NetSuite, Epicor, or one of the other financial kind of systems out there, they're not looking, even Dynamics for that matter, they're not looking to license every user in the company for that back-end system. But using our program, which already you have the M365 licenses, you can make the request, you can go through the approval process, and then the only person, only like one proxy person or one person has to, one or two, a small group has to interact with the back-end system, therefore saving substantial money on the licensing if that happens to be your situation. And we do a lot with integrations on that level. Integrating to back-end systems and order systems and like that. So whatever system you have, we'd be interested to hear, and we may have an integration for it already, or we can easily build one. We just did one for MS Dynamics, for example. We've done NetSuite and QuickBooks and others. So, let us know. And like Jeff was saying, and Krista both, it's good to have one-on-one conversations because everybody's purchasing is a little bit different. We have people who are using systems they want to get off of. We have other people have no system at all. Other people use an email. We just talked with a company yesterday. They just merged with a larger company, and now for SOX 2 compliance, they have to put a purchase request management system in so they can track and know how come a purchase was approved and who approved it and when it was approved. They didn't have that in place, believe it or not, until they merged. Now that they merged with this larger company, it's a requirement of the SOX 2 compliance. Okay, that all said, let's take a look at what we have going on here. We are running in Microsoft 365, Office 365 right now. We run in the commercial cloud, we run in the GCC, and we run in the GCC High, the secure GCC High environment. Not only that, we also run in the SharePoint. Well, we don't do too much with 2013 because it's already extended support ended. If you have 2013, we can talk about it, but mostly 2016, SharePoint 2016, 2019, and the SE edition, we have versions for that. Our programs, like Jeff was pointing out, run on top of our what we call the NITRO intelligence platform, which has NITRO Studio, NITRO AI services, and NITRO Engage. And that world's evolving very quickly, especially the AI. We're doing stuff with ChatGPT. We're doing stuff with natural language processing. We have for years, but the GPT and other things are really starting to come into more power. The Microsoft has all these tools with OpenAI that we're taking advantage of. So it'd be some really evolution of that intelligence platform over the summer and into the fall. It's quite exciting time to be working in this field, I'll tell you that. So purchase requests. Okay, what's going on here? Let's take a look at the screen. Here's a list of purchase requests and a dashboard. There's tiles and dials to show us what is going on up here. You can drill down, click in this if you want to take it from a management perspective. There's reports going on here. And all these are part of our NITRO tools, the NITRO Studio tools that we have that make it so it displays nicely. But most important is, how does a person submit a request? Okay, a person wants to submit a request. Now, I'm showing you desktop. This would just as well run on a mobile. So a person might come in and they want to do a new purchase request right here. So they would come in and click the button and get a form that comes up and fill it out. And again, it would run on the mobile. You have a mobile-friendly version of this, and they put in their, what they want, what the priority, the status, whether it's budgeted. Now with budgets, we can work on you, depending on how your situation is. There's people who have set budgets like yearly or quarterly. Other people have blanket POs. Other people have other ways of arranging their finance, so you can correlate the purchase request against a already approved or against a budget or already approved blanket PO, for example. All that can be done. In the demo, like I say, everybody's situation is a little different. So in the demo, we show kind of a generic version, but rest assured, we can make this work, and we have done it numerous times, configured quite easily to work for your environment. Everything's underlaid by our NITRO Studio, so changing this form or changing the workflow and changing the actions are quite easy as needed to fit your requirements. So we can go through this and fill it out and submit it and decide what item it's going to be and all that. Now I could do this form here, but before I do this, I want to also show you that this can be done inside of Teams. So if you're using Teams, you can use Teams. You can use the SharePoint backend that we're looking at right here, create a new ticket, or you can go into the NITRO Engage bot, which runs inside of Teams. Here's Microsoft Teams here for this. And our bot, we chose our bot on the side. It gets easily installed, nothing to it. And once it's installed, it becomes an option inside of your Teams environment, and you can submit a ticket. Now the bot does a lot of different things. We have a help desk, we have asset management, we have HR requests, we have a whole range of functions, and the commands would, if you wanted to use it for more than just purchasing, you can, have a whole set of commands that come up as far as submit a ticket and all these different things that are here are possible with our bot. And now we're going to focus on purchasing in this one, so you can see there's a range of commands. Rather than go into that, we're going to just keep it simple, because in the bot you can just put in something like a keyword like new purchase. You don't have to go through the whole command list. You could if you wanted to, but if you do this new purchase through our bot, our NITRO Engage bot, it will come up with a form that you can fill out, the user can fill out, and this again could be on mobile, where they can describe what they want to buy. So let's see what we're going to buy here. They're going to buy a new, we always say laptop, but okay, we'll just go with a new laptop. It just seems easiest thing to do. So it's hardware, priority is normal, it could be high, low, whatever. You have a purchase catalog. The options are this is where it gets a little interesting how you want to arrange your situation, because we have a range of options here. One is simply type in what is needed. I want to order 5 bags of coffee for the break room. I need a new printer. We have to buy toner for the printer. I need a new business cards, whatever. You can type it in. The other options that we have, this is a kind of a gradation of possibilities, and these can be incorporated together. It could be free-form text, or it could be more sophisticated and pull from a catalog that already knows the items and the pricing, or it could be even more sophisticated and do stuff like interactive. If you have an Amazon business account, or you have a known supplier, or you have a parts catalog set up, or anything like that can be done as to pull in the item that you want. In this case, we're just taking a simple drop list of items, and old one is outdated. I don't know, whatever. And that's how this is done. And select it. Now, this selection of the item you're going to buy, whether it's free-form text, or it's from a catalog, or it's from a vendor's list or whatever, that's where it really gets interesting for us. How are we going to set that up? We have that conversation with you guys, find out what your needs are. And we even have now in our parts catalog style where you can choose different parts, like it's listed with little pictures, which I don't have it to show you right now, but it could show you like different, little thumbnails of each item, almost like, you're doing a shopping on one of the online websites, but it's internal, of course. And then you choose what you want, and that makes up the items that are going to be part of the purchase request. So talk to us about what way works the best for you. I don't know, it's up to your environment and your situation. Okay, so this person's submitting it. Now, what we have in the purchase request system, I'm gonna go back to that for a moment, in the purchase request. In the administration of this is ways we set up different levels, whether depending on who it is, what department, what it'd be department, it'd be who it is, what amount of money it is, what level, all these different things decide who gets approved. And this you can set up as much as you want, whether 1 level or 2 levels or whatever. This one, if I refresh the screen, you can see that there's a new purchase here for a new laptop I just put in. Old one is outdated. It's pending approval at level 1. No, the person who gets the approval got a message that somebody, in this case it's called CCS sales demo. Of course, normally it'd be like Jeff or Krista or somebody ordering this, but we just use that name. It was submitted, and now we're going to go over to the requester, the approver, sorry. This, again, a different browser with a different login. Happens to be me, SR, but it's a test account. It's a demo account. So in the email here, you should have got an email that there's a need for approval. This is a request number 121, purchase request. Let me go back and show you what I mean. Purchase request got a number 121. So it's been here. 121 needs your approval. I got an email about it. I also got a card inside of my Teams. So if I'm not checking email, it could pop up in my Teams using the NITRO Engage bot. And now I have an option, because it's the level 1 approver, to go ahead and approve or deny or send back. Or I can also look at the item in the browser if I wanted to. And if I was like if I wanted to see my list of approvals I have to do, I would go look at I put a command in that says my approval task, I believe it is. Let me put my approvals, I think it is. It should show a list of the approvals that are there. Well, anyways. So here we are on this. So are we going to approve it or not? Should we give these guys a new laptop? Let's go ahead and approve it. And so we go ahead and approve it. And here is, come back. It says it's approval task. I can put a comment in like, okay, whatever. It's approved now. All this is done without even interacting with the backend SharePoint. The person made the request and the person has approved it by just going in and say task is approved. So meanwhile, the person over here who made the original request, I'm going to bring him back over, his browser or its browser. I don't know. This one in here should get a message also saying was created successfully and that it was been approved. So it's created and he'll get a message that it was approved. But meanwhile, we can look in here and see that this has now been set to approved. This has now been set to approved. Well, it should have been. Let me see. Did I not fill that out correctly? Let me go here and it says task is approved. Okay. Let's see. Let's open it up and take a look at it. Oh, I think what it is, it might need 2 levels of approval. Yeah, it needs 2 levels of approvals. Okay, my mistake. That's why it hasn't been approved, because it needs 2 levels of approval due to the amount. The amount of money of $1,200 and the department and type of purchase required to have 2 levels of approvals. Okay, so let's look at this one. Let's go back and look. Sorry, I want to show you who the approval here is. The approval is John Smith now. Level 2 approval is John Smith. Okay, let's get a hold of John Smith. John Smith is right here, JS, right? And now John Smith has to get an approval also. He's got here. He got a message saying purchase request new laptop 121. Again, remember we were doing 121. He has the level 2 approval because it's over $1,000. That's the way it's set up. You can set it up every way you want. It could be 5,000. I don't know. We had people who have different locations in Taiwan. As I remember, it just happened to have an office in Taiwan, had different approval than an office in Dallas, Texas, for example. So it went back and forth depending on where the location is, how much money it is, who's ordering it. this case, this laptop requires 2 levels of approval. Level 1 was it went to the SR account. I approved it. Now I'm in the JS account and it's also going to approve it. So that explains why it wasn't approved at the level 1. It had 2 levels of approval. So now we go here and say, okay, again, and approve it. And so you get this whole system of record, this system of management of your spend, that it's not going to become a purchase order until it goes through the proper approval processes. And we're doing it all in Teams. We could just as well do it in the back end SharePoint if we wanted to. But in this case, we're doing it here. Task is approved. And now we're going to go back and look at the dashboard here of the original person, CD, which is the CC demo, CD, that it was approved at the level 2. There it is. So now it's approved. And anybody, and this is what Jeff was talking about, the system of record and why, SOC 2 compliance, but even just for good financial records, you want to know it was approved and who did it and what, when, and they put a reason in. So we look here at the approval record and we have a complete record that it was level 1 approved by SR, level 2 approved by JS. It puts the information in, any kind of information we want to know about this. It's here as a record of approval here in the back-end system. Now, and again, if you want to use the Engage bot and look at, different my open requests, let's see, open PR, let's see if this is open PR comes up, all kinds of shortcuts you can use for your commands to show you like your, if the person only wants to use Teams, they can see that, okay, the new laptop of 121 was approved. And they can open it up and take a look at it, just like we were doing through SharePoint, but they can also do it right through here and get a record of, what the status of that request is. Now, just to jump tracks a little bit, this is the same idea when we're working with HR requests for vacation, or we're working with ticketing when they want to do an IT ticket and things like that. All this interaction, it could go back and forth, makes it easy. In this case, we're talking about purchasing, but we want to make it as easy as possible for the end user. Now that it's been approved, the thing is to go in and create a purchase order out of it. Of course, only certain people have certain rights. These are custom actions in our NITRO Studio situation, and these can be set to only certain users will have the rights to see these buttons and act on the buttons. So in this case, imagine that we're logged in as the person who has the rights to create a PO, or alternatively, send it to the third party such as NetSuite or QuickBooks or whatever. It takes all this information, packs it up in a nice little package, sends it over to the appropriate, either creates a PO or sends it over to the appropriate third party to become through for fulfillment. Now, assuming that you're going to go through the create PO in our system, you go, it creates a PO, purchase order here. Now we know that this purchase order has been approved. The request has been approved. The request has been made at such and such date, and it was approved by so-and-so, level 1, level 2, whatever levels you want to create. There it is. So here's the purchase order right here, number 56, 2023 56. So let's close that. I could open it right from there if I wanted, but I want more to show you the purchase orders over here. Refresh the list and go find number 56. Would be the new one right here that came up of the purchase order we just made right here, right? We just did this right now. And you can look at the purchase order cover sheet. There's a purchase order number, priority, not yet ordered. You don't want to know when it's going to be delivered, who's buying it, all this stuff that you want to do here. And the original purchase request details, here it is. You can open it up and take a look at it if you want. There's financial department use, a check voucher. Now, if you have particular things you need on your PO, we can put all those things together and make it happen. And one interesting thing about this, you can also print it out in a nice looking format. We have a print manager as part of our NITRO Studio. And this is a template that can be customized to your particular needs. You may want to put a logo on here. You may have other things. Very easy to customize this to look how you want it to do, because the back-end HTML that does this is part of our print manager template. And you can have different printouts for different reasons. And once it's printed out, you can print it, you can export it, you can send it email, directly to the supplier if you wanted to. And that's all recorded nicely as the purchase order here, right? One thing that's up here is if you have to update the status, you can. Also, if an order comes in, say you're buying a new laptop, you can create an asset in your asset management system now that the laptop has been delivered and received. You can then create an asset, and then you have the record of tied to that asset of all the information about when it was ordered, when the request was made, and all that. So it's quite interesting. Let's take another look at this, just a little bit more detail. If you did want to go to the original purchase request and take a look at it, it's all clickable. See, click here, click there. And it's just a complete record of these things. You can look at the version history to know what's been changed. You can, I mean, it's many, many things that are possible. And if you have other things that need to be done as part of a purchase order, we can put that in as custom actions or integrations. Now let's look at the full list. We're looking at the ones to be ordered, the ones to be reconciled, open orders, canceled orders, ones that have been ordered, reconciled, all purchase orders. These are just different views of the purchase order information. And you can look at this and say, oh, here, partially fulfilled, fully fulfilled, reconciled, you know, blah, 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 blah. And you can tie it to invoices. It makes a really nice, complete system if you want to work this way, but also it can tie to third-party systems quite easily and pull in, you know, and communicate back and forth with that system so that the person who originally made the request is keeping fully informed and engaged. So let's look at the purchase request over here. Here's the new laptop, and you can see that the person, what is it? The purchase order is right here. If the person wants to see the purchase order, they can go right there and click the purchase order and have access to that. Now, there's another level we can go to if you want in a management level. A couple things going on here. There's dashboards for it show you the you know, what's outstanding and, you know, what needs to be worked on, different graphical elements if you want to keep track of the spends and the number of requests and all this. There is also this more where is it? This system right here, where they are now viewing the purchase requests in a different light, such each one is its own element. In fact, let me refresh this because 121 is not on here because I opened that before. Here's 121. So you see the purchase request 121 has a lot of details on it as to if you want to look at it from this perspective. So we try and build in as much surfacing of information in easy to consume ways for the back end people to keep close track of what's going on and know where it is, what the status is, what they need to act on, you know, ordered, generated, approved, pending approval, all these things, and then they can take an action on it. And if they need to drill down into this, they can look at it in more sophisticated, print it, view the form, look at the different levels of approval. The same idea with this PO that was generated here, order not received. So it's really pretty cool. And then if you needed to come in here and sort it by different purchase requests, purchase orders, or different departments, you can do that and how you want to sort it. So another way to give you the tools you need to manage, like Jeff was saying, spend management or purchase management, budgeting. We also have a report center right here. I'll show you the report center. And a report center can be used to build different kinds of reports that you may want to put in place. And they could be bar graphs, or they could be, you know, line graphs or pie charts and different things. And then, like you saw earlier in our dashboard here, there can be embedded on web pages to build nice management reports that you need. Like both, like we've been saying throughout this webinar, it's a highly customizable program. It's very, very flexible. It uses the Engage bot. It uses the backend SharePoint. You also can go here if you wanted to go to the Teams. You have a channel inside of Teams, Microsoft Teams. Now we're not in an Engage bot. We're in a team right now called Purchasing. And if you want to go there, you can do the submissions through that. If you want to go through Teams right here and have the submission that way, you can do that if you wanted to. So it's going to bring up a form that you can fill out. You know, a different way. I mean, this is like different styles for different organizations. If your people are using Teams and they want to go to a Teams tab, I guess you call it, a Teams tab in the channel and fill out the form, they can do that. If they want to go to the backend SharePoint, they can. If they want to go to use the Engage bot, they can. Now, the thing is, this, you know, we've been going to all these Microsoft shows and conferences and everything, and Teams is where Microsoft's doing a lot of work, and there's like Teams 2.0 and all this other stuff coming out, and we're incorporating as much of that is relevant into our program. So one thing you may see this Teams channel side of things grow a bit more. One thing you got to notice if you do look at this is here's purchase requests right here. Well, if you got your backend SharePoint, and let's say right here, and let's say if I go to a purchase request or new purchase request right there, let me go back here, do a new purchase request. SharePoint's a great system. We love it. We've been using it for years, but you know, to end users, sometimes there's a lot of clutter, you know, like what's all this stuff all around? It's the same form, right? But in Teams, it's embedded inside this channel. So it looks a little bit almost cleaner or simpler. So it really depends on how your users want to interact with the system and what works best for them. And we try and make all our programs, all our applications as flexible as possible. We call it omni-channel support, meaning you could send in an email, you could send in even a text, you can go to SharePoint, we have portals, we have the backend SharePoint, we have Teams channels, we have the Teams Engage bot. So we give a lot of options because I find a lot of organizations are in a period of adjustment to all this new technology, and some people are still very used to filling out, just send an email. Other people just want to fill out a form inside of SharePoint. Other people want to use a portal. Other people want to make it part of their intranet, for example. So we make the system highly adaptable to whatever is your best use, and it could be flexible. Some users this, some users that, depending on their level of you know, what they find works best for them. So this is the same as if I went through the bot. I mean, you got a description, priority status, budget, all this different things, and you can choose your line item. Again, you can have the choice to type something in directly, like I was saying earlier. Give them a choice, either choose from a catalog, you can sort the catalog by different items, or you can go here and just type it in directly and not use that category, select item, issue type if you want. And like I was saying earlier, to reemphasize that point, the product catalog can be much more than just a simple drop-down list. We can pop up a kind of visual with the thumbnails and all that and make it so that user can select, kind of like they're shopping on Amazon, more or less, but not quite. And then bring that into the purchase request and then follow through like that. Again, I was talking about the blanket POs and the budgets and tying it into budgets. All that's possible. It's all very, very possible to do with this system. Now, one thing I want to show you before we get off the show here is that all this technology that is here that you're seeing comes from our NITRO Studio. NITRO Studio, as Jeff pointed out, is part of the NITRO Intelligence platform that uses NITRO Studio, it uses our NITRO AI services like natural language processing, the machine learning, the open AI capabilities, GPT, email sentiment analysis, all kinds of things like that, and our NITRO Engage bot, which I showed you some of that already to create the purchase order and get the approvals done. The NITRO Studio, powerful tool to make modifications. Now, if you're a user of purchasing and you don't really want to know about all this, that's fine. You don't have to. That's the beauty of this. You don't have to know. It's like my car. Do I really need to open the hood and know what the carburetor and distributor does? And you know, I leave that to the mechanic. But other people are into it. I got a neighbor who's really into cars, and he's always into, you know, taking them apart and rebuilding them and stuff. And I used to do that when I was young too. You know, when you could actually get in a car without all a zillion computers, you could actually take apart an engine and redo the head and all that. Anyway, so the point is, it depends on your do-it-yourself mindset or your you know. But otherwise, we can help you out with it. You know, like you take to the mechanic and they will adjust it somehow. But what I want to show you is that we have this forms designer, which for the purchase order, purchase request, whatever you want to design, that you can come in and modify, or we can do for you as needed to fit the specific requirements of your organization. We can build workflows, we can build custom actions, and we have kind of a range of customers. Some are very, very into this. They're like, they take it and they run with it and they have a lot of fun. It's just their mentality. They're doing, you know, they're kind of hobbyist type people, citizen developers. Other people are more like, nah, you go do it. You know, it's just like nowadays, I just go to the oil place, even the dealer, and say, hey, change the oil. I used to get under there with the pan and unscrew the bolt and all the oil would drain out. You know, it got to be like, then I don't know, I guess I'm getting older and I don't want to crawl under the car anymore. So it depends on it. You know, it's like, you know, do you want to cook at home or do you want to go to a restaurant? It's like really up to you what you want to do it. But what the beauty of Nitro Studio is, whether we do it or you do it, it's an incredibly powerful tool for designing these forms to be exactly how you want, and whatever version you want. You want it in mobile, you want it in desktop, tablet, you know, it's all kinds of different ways of displaying this information. And we made it really easy and mobile, easy to use, mobile friendly, make it so that people can come in and do their work. It's really about working efficiently, working smarter, not harder. Kind of cliche, but it's like, it's really what it's all about. Building in custom actions that can be put onto the form so that when all that person has to do is click a button and they can run an action over here, and they can, you know, these actions will take place according to whatever you program or we program it to do. So here's one like send to NetSuite, where we set up this um, you know, connection with NetSuite. It would do all that for you, but all the person has to do is click that button, and bada bing, all the information goes over to NetSuite and becomes part of their the system over there through using various APIs and things like that.
Scott, real quick, since we're on this topic, it's a great segue into a question that we have about integrating with other third-party solutions. And this one in particular was Asset Panda. And you know, I don't know, you know, who asked this question, if you guys are this is integrated with an ITSM solution that you have out there right now. But the answer to your question is yes. So Asset Panda has a REST API, and we can use that, and we can do an integration with any third-party solution through a REST API. So it can serve as an enhancement to your current, for example, ITSM solution of using a ticketing system along with asset management. And then we have a purchase quest system that we can absolutely integrate. So, and I think Scott was just kind of indicating there, like, you know, how do we do that? And we already have a methodology, and we do this all the time. So the answer is
yeah. Let me show Jeff. Let me show you the just briefly, you know, without getting into all the you know, all the mechanics of it. We have this workflow designer, and what I did is I set it up that right now is when an item is modified. So say when it's approved, if that's a modification of the purchase request or the purchase order, some indicator that it needs to go to NetSuite or whatever, Asset Panda at this point. Then look at all these different actions we have here that can take place, multiple actions. In here, we can branch off into different gateways with say yes, no questions. So one branch goes here, one branch goes there. And according to, you know, you can do loop controls, and this is set up. Well, one thing that you might want to do is if it's approved or it's a certain kind of asset, invoke the web service, which is, you know, basically saying invoke an API, and then you just set it up so that you get all this stuff going that connects. You know, it's like like Jeff saying, all these REST APIs have certain parameters that you put in and certain variables that you can pass, but you can see it's all here ready to go. Just a matter of filling in the blanks, and then you have that ability to do that. Now, you know, you can also branch off into other places if you wanted. Here, make the connections, you know, if it's going to go over to another you know, decision point here and go into this direction instead of that direction. You can make it so that it goes different things, and also going to have different actions. So maybe you actually want to send an email and invoke the web service, or do different things. You know, you can set up these things as much and as sophisticated as you'd like, right? You know, maybe let's see what's here. Send an email. I'm trying to get this one. Send an email right there, so you can, you know, move it over so it connects to that one, right? You know, all kinds of fun stuff with this. And then set up certain conditions when it runs, and then that will run automatically when cancel, when the conditions are right. The conditions would be whatever you want them to be. Items modified, and this and that and this, and then it'll write to that system. And this is what you know, the system runs on under the covers. We're getting a little under the covers here. You know, you don't have to, I don't want to scare people away, because you don't have to deal with that at all. You can just do the purely with the purchase, you know, the surface of the Teams integration, the Teams bot, the Teams form, or the SharePoint backend, and never have to deal with that, or just say, you guys, I just need a new workflow done, and we'll do that for you. Set up. Usually there's like, Jeff, usually there's some configuration services at first with this program, right?
Yeah, so I mean, if we were to set the expectation here is that, look, like any piece of software you buy, they're going to do an amazing demo, show you all the features and functionality, how amazing it is. And then all of a sudden, you buy and log in and realize it's all empty, right? And that's, I mean, if you bought software in the past, you understand that's the case. And for us, we have so much experience and have had, so many interactions with different companies out there doing this. We already have some insights and, some knowledge and some subject matter expertise in terms of helping you get started. But every organization is different, and everybody wants to do something slightly unique. There's certainly some commonalities, but pretty much every engagement that we have with clients after they purchase software, they utilize our assistance in configuring and setting up, whether it be an integration or even workflows, custom actions, et cetera, helping them build out the forms. It's very common that they utilize us for that. For one, we're experts. We can generally do it faster than our clients. We can also, as we sit down and scope, how you want to utilize this system. We've gone through that process many times, and then we can help. We understand what you're trying to articulate in a quick manner. So what we do is certainly we're here to help you in the beginning. We do provide some configuration services along with you buying the product itself, but ultimately too, we want you to be self-sufficient, and so we want to help you get to a point where you can simply do these things on the fly yourselves. We provide training, that we offer training, and so there's a number of resources available internally to help you, but that's pretty common. And I think ultimately our goal is, how do we sort of efficiently get to a go live for you guys to start utilizing this internally in the quickest, most efficient way. And so that's very common, and I think most of our customers take us up on this, unless they've been a long time customer and they already understand our tools and they bought this as an additional product. That's the probably a realistic expectation of the relationship as we get started.
Oh, I'm just having some fun here.
So another thing too, we have another with the integration. Integration seems to be a topic of interest here. As we mentioned earlier.
Other questions on integration, Jeff?
Yeah, another question. This was just, would it integrate with Tyler Technologies parallels in code? I mean, can we through code? Can we do an integration? Perhaps if there's not an API, is there a way for us to integrate with other solutions like that?
Yeah. Just and that just triggered something in my mind, that actually we have ability that if you had a spreadsheet of things you wanted to buy, like 10 laptops, you could import that in and create either one purchase request for all 10, or we create 10 separate purchase requests depending on your preference there.
So
that's something that we've seen sometimes, Jeff. You know that?
Yeah. And another thing too, just kind of commenting on integrations. I mean, there's a couple different levels of integration. One is an integration to a third-party financial system. The other integration too is this concept of integrating with, for example, you have some preferred vendors out there. A lot of preferred vendors. If you're looking at someone like Office Depot or Amazon, other vendors that you might use for to buy products as a preferred vendor, and it's common that you purchase them often, is a lot of them have catalogs, whether they be online. There's a catalog out there, and most of those have APIs. Amazon, very easy to integrate with, but there's a number of catalogs out there that where we can integrate with those as well. So there's a number of different levels of integration that make this a very powerful tool, and to simplify at the end of the day the end user experience.
Yeah, that's I think much more than help desk. We're seeing this, massive interest in integration, either at the front end of the purchase request or the back end at the purchase order fulfillment end. And it makes sense because, a procurement system at a large corporation is quite, a sophisticated tool involving, supply chains and all that. But our purchase requests is that kind of Goldilocks solution where you don't have just emails or no or paper or something like that. It's nice, you know, the price level's good, the amount of complexity is low enough that it's easy to use, and it's already part of Microsoft 365 and SharePoint and Teams, so it makes sense, a lot of sense to use it. Only you got to license software from us, but there's no extra licensing as far as, you know, the third-party back-end solutions. And then the other, you know, the other parts can do the heavy lifting of keeping track and the financial documentation and whatever.
Yeah,
So
Scott, one more thing that I haven't mentioned in the beginning, I failed to mention, but it's crossing my mind now, is for those on this webinar is, you know, for us, we have the solutions we built, and I've described this up front, is this platform. We've built an extensible solution where, for example, we have an IT help desk that runs in Office 365. So if you start looking at the interaction across applications, you know, end user experience comes, they submit a, say for example, an IT help desk ticket, they have a laptop, it's broken. We have a solution that covers that in the ticketing, you know, in terms of the intake of a ticket. But now we also know we also have an asset management product. So in that asset management database, we can go and correlate the ticket to an asset. And then from there, we're like, well, wait a minute, we discovered it's out of warranty, and we need to replace that. So now we can go ahead and submit a purchase request. And we can see in there the 3 approved laptops. And so you can see how, for us, is really about building solutions that are, one, it could be a standalone application like this. It could be a combination of multiple applications that work together, you know, in a very cohesive way. So for us, it's really about trying to drive efficient processes and automate them in as much as, you know, in a way that makes sense to your organization, but as much as possible. So, you know, there's a lot that we offer, and I know I'm saying this because we're getting to the top of the hour, because I want everybody to understand that we have this product, but we have a suite of products that also work in conjunction with each other that could be of interest to you as well. So.
yeah, it's a great, we have a lot of interest in this. So, you know, I really like, one of the things that we really find enjoyable, at least me personally, and I think the salespeople too, is just talking to the customers about what their needs are. We're going through a whole review of this program. We think it's fine the way it is, but there's always new features to add and new, you know, things to respond to from customers. And it's growing and becoming more and more sophisticated. And of course, we got that NITRO Studio platform, the intelligence platform under it, looking what we can do with AI to make it even better. It's a little tricky. I mean, you get into spend management and data analysis if you're at that level of how you're spending your money and where it's going. So it depends. Most of the time, it's though just making it easier for end users to submit and get approval. And I'm showing you again, I feel a little bit like we should show more on mobile, because this works so well on mobile also. And I think a lot of people just want to get, you know, some notification, whether it's in Teams or on their mobile device, on their phone, and just approve things. Yeah, just kind of get it done. Like, right? Isn't that's what the whole goal is? Like, don't sit there, you know, belaboring it, or you don't have the right tool to make, you know, when I get home, then I'm going to approve it or something. No, you just want to have it right there. If you agree the guy needs a new chair, a new laptop, a new whatever the heck, then you go ahead and approve it, right? You know, why dilly-dally on it, right? And move things along, and that helps the end user. It helps the whole business run more efficiently. This guy's ordering a new chair here.
Since we only have a few minutes left, there's another question around integrations as well. I know I mentioned the Amazon piece of it, Amazon catalog. I think in this, I have your information. I think we can reach out to you directly on that question, but we'd love to circle back and have that conversation about things like that. For example, what does the mobile piece look like in terms of making it easier? Look, we live in a world where most of them, I work remote. I think we're all of us here, at least from Crow Canyon, are working remote. We're out and about. We work all day long, regardless of our location. So mobile is incredibly important. But also, for example, questions like, you know, what does the Amazon catalog integration look like? What I would suggest is that, you know, I'll reach out, or someone will reach out, is that we connect on that, have a little more deeper conversation around some of these things, and that way we can showcase in a more individual sort of, you know,
direct approach,
way in addressing your particular needs and requirements and or wish list. So again, we've got 5 minutes left in the hour. We should probably turn it back over to Krista, but all you guys on this phone call, you will receive, you know, a follow-up email. We'll probably someone from our sales team at some point will reach out to you as well to try to connect, but we'd love to continue this conversation and see, what is it you're trying to accomplish, and does our tool, is it a good fit for your organization?
Exactly. Krista, you want to jump in there?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Scott. I really appreciate. I've seen that demo multiple times now, and every time I see it, I get excited.
That's
So
good.
it's always good to see. Really appreciate you sharing that with us today, and Jeff, for all of your insights. I think we've got a lot of exciting things going on, and this is definitely an application that just about any organization can use, and I think everyone uses it a little differently. So we'd love to go ahead and schedule a one-on-one demo with you to talk about what your specific needs are. If you have any questions in the meantime, go ahead and send us an email at hello@procanyon.com. Otherwise, if you've registered for the webinar, we will follow up with you and answer any questions that you have that you may not have gotten a chance to get to today. But anything else, don't hesitate again to reach out, hello@procanyon.com. And we thank you all so much for joining us today, and have a great day.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Thank you.